Monopoly 2. Monopoly 2 from the riot. Shout out to the riot that went down this weekend. You were in attendance. You were in the building for that. I'm going to say, like, to be honest, shout out to everybody before Eunice and franchise. We were kind of paying attention to the battles before we headed out that way. I didn't get a chance to see it. I do want to give those artists a fair shake, so I am going to watch their battles. I started with DI versus L.I. the Mayor this morning. I got through the first round from both, so I'm going to make my way through that. We can have a full breakdown and talk about that maybe next week. But let's just start there. We'll start with Eunice versus Franchise because that's the first battle where we were actually locked in, paying attention, and we were in the building for that as well. So,
yeah,
your thoughts on Eunice versus Franchise?
Well, you say we were locked in. Like, I mean, I had to battle.
I'm sorry.
So I'm walking around.
I was locked in. I was locked in.
Going over bars in my head, trying to figure everything out. You know, I'm hearing the crowd react, but I'm definitely not up there, like, paying attention and being intentional about, like, watching the battle. You know, unfortunately, the only two that I really watched were Loso and Geechee and me and Tay Roc, you know?
All right. So I'll go. So Eunice and Franchise, I think it was a really dope battle. Shout out to Trick Williams from NXT. NXT champion was in the building. He was standing right next to me. We were kind of engaged a little bit, talking back and forth about the bars. And as soon as I saw them, as we started to crowd in, and I could see Eunice and Franchise, and I think shout out to Iller. Iller goes, there are no mics. And I'm like, oh, that's going to be a problem for Eunice. I watched Eunice live when he battled Hansel. And as he gets older, because I think Eunice is early 20s, his voice will continue to mature. His projection will probably get a little bit better. He'll be able to get his voice further into the back of those crowds. But the minute I saw no mics, I'm like, he's going to have a problem because Franchise is going to be there with full aggression. He's going to be going crazy. He's going to be barking on him, and it's going to carry to the back of that crowd. We're going to be able to hear it a lot better. And so at certain parts during Eunice's round, even though we're like maybe 7 to 10 feet, you have people going, what'd he say? What'd he say? I didn't. And so that first round, I think to me, is debatable. Franchise has a really strong start to his first round. So does Eunice. And I edged that to Eunice. On the go back, I might change my mind. But that first round, I edged to Eunice. To me, the second round, clear for Franchise. I think he has the bar of the battle with the Smith and Wesson bar. Where's my intersection?
Easy.
Smith and Wesson. And the thing was, it was a part of a whole segment where he was really turning up about what you know about this, what you know about that. And in the third, I feel like Franchise, he tailed off a little bit from where he was in that second. And to me, Eunice had a really dope round. And the thing about Eunice is I feel like with his projection, I don't want to call it issue, right? But because he wasn't able to project, there were certain bars where like the fans were not, I mean, it was, so for example, he has a bar by Arsenal, right? He's mentioning that Franchise used to play soccer. And he goes, you know, his dream match, Arsenal. And like crickets, nothing. And so like there happened to be an Arsenal fan literally in front of us. Me and Iller, who are the English Premier Soccer guys, we're like, oh, that's fire. Mm-hmm. And we're literally the only 3 people in the entire room reacting to it. He had bars like that where at times where the projection just didn't carry or just didn't translate, where again, he starts to fix that, help, try to get that across in a way that is a little bit more relatable. But this is little things because Eunice is an incredibly dope MC. I had a 2-1 Eunice, first and third. Really, I might have been, with no disrespect to you and Rock, might have been the most. It's up there. It's between you two or between Battle of the Night. Between that one and those two, that was the best to me. The best back and forth of the night. The best battle, one of the best battles of the night. To talk about, let's jump to
Snake Eyes and Riggs.
I had Riggs 2-1.
So far, you've got the two. They both lost on the unofficial judging that went on for this event.
We're going to talk about that in a second. We're going to get to that in a second.
Okay.
Because I would have voted. I voted the opposite way of all the judges. Right. I had Riggs 2-1, second and third. I thought Snake Eyes edged the first. I thought that Riggs got the second and the third. Dope battle. Sold a little bit of as a grudge match, and it had a little bit of that energy to it. But I feel like Riggs edged the second and the third. I feel like the bar of the night for that one was like talking about him being Brim. He was like, I can't remember the bar, verbatim, but it's like basically I'm so Brim that 6 man can't carry me out when I die. Right. I got that right. Yeah, I got that right.
I don't get it though. 6-man, like why? Because it's this number thing with gang culture or something.
I think so. I think so.
But it hit
Don't
like it was
quote me.
Friday night.
But it hit in the room. I'm pretty sure. Well, it was, yeah, 6. Anyway, don't. Hey, listen. You're not talking to guys who come from that life. So, hey, if we got it wrong, please correct us. All right, moving on. Let's talk about Loso and Geechee.
Yeah, it's probably gang because like there's one gang. It's like 5. You know, people call them 5, and there's 6. There's like
I'm assuming. I wonder is it short for the 6?
Saying such a blood like since that's Brendan, maybe he can't have that number of people. But anyway, yeah.
Well, I know 5. I know 5 is a part of blood culture. Maybe 6 is short for 60s.
Yeah, it might be.
So, hey, listen. Don't quote us. This is why I'm not on the Champion of the Year panel, guys. This is why breakdowns just like this. Anyway,
first of all, I'm just gonna keep it a buck with you. 99% of the people on Champion of the Year panel don't understand that, except just Jay Black, maybe.
Like, we're not doing that, man. I rock with Jay.
Everybody to know everything from anime to gang culture to English Premier Soccer to wrestling. Like that's at the end of the day, you can't expect everybody to catch every bar. But you can expect everybody to attempt to or not give their opinion on it if they don't understand it.
True, because there are a lot of sports bars that get no reaction. I'm just like, what are we doing here, people? Like, that was insanely fire. And they're just looking at me like, anyway. Loso, Geechee Gotti, man. Let's talk about that. I'm going to be honest. I had Loso with every round. I know you said Geechee might have got.
I said the second was the closest is what I had. I had the second as the closest. I had the first round clear Loso, third round clear Loso. Second was the closest. Geechee once again in the third round kind of has a shock factor rebuttal, that helps his round out a lot. But I just thought cohesiveness, rapping, just punchlines and everything. I thought Loso had the battle clearly. Geechee got to a lot of nice stuff in that second, but a lot of times setups and just rapping and stuff were you can kind of tell that he had a lot to do that weekend, and there's times you could tell. Actually, there might not have been times. I thought Loso did a great job of not looking like, he just battled 3 rounds, 3 minutes on Friday night. I thought Loso did a really good job, but I think with Geechee, if I was looking at that battle, I would have thought Geechee battled on Friday night and not Loso. But it was still an entertaining battle. They did shorter rounds. I think they did 90-second to 2-minute rounds, which I think helped make it an entertaining battle. But I definitely had Loso winner.
Yeah, like I said, I'm going to go back in that second round and see. Like I said, I thought Loso for sure first and third were very clear. I thought he got the second as well. And let me just shout out Loso. Like, again, we've seen battle rappers do things like battle on the same day. We've seen them battle on the same weekend, back-to-back nights, so on and so forth. But none of them, to my knowledge, have decided to take on 2 of the biggest names in battle rap in the same weekend.
Yeah.
And be dope in both of those performances.
Yeah. Not recently. Ilmac battled Hollow and conceded on the same day. Back in the grind time days, so that was, but that's, we're talking over 10 years ago, over a decade ago.
Now, let's talk about judging real quick. Now, I'll get to that in a second. So, after the Loso battle, Josh comes up to me, which is one of Loso's homies. We dap it up. We're talking. He's trying to talk to me, and I'm like, wait. I need to listen. How I put my earpiece in because I wanted to hear how they were going to score the battle. Because I'm thinking this should be unanimous. Like, this should be.
You got it pulled up on the pay-per-view.
I got the pay-per-view. By the way, if you hadn't gotten the pay-per-view, if you didn't get a chance to see any of the battles, go to rapgrid.com. It's one of the main banners, Monopoly 2. Click on that, get the pay-per-view, watch all the battles, comment, tell us how you scored it. And so I'm thinking, oh, this is easy Loso, right? But the first vote comes in, and it's Geechee Gotti. We then get to hear the fan vote. 61-39, Loso. So, like, the fans have scored this as a clear win for Loso, right?
Now, hold on. Let me ask you this. How was that fan vote working? Was it working like as a live fan vote on the...
I'm assuming that it was on Rap Grid. That I'm assuming... I don't know where you were voting because I never heard, like, to vote, go here. So I'm assuming that if you're watching the pay-per-view, that at the conclusion of the battle, I know King of the Dot has done this, right? When you would watch their battles, you wouldn't go to Twitter and do it. Within the pay-per-view stream, a voting tool would come up and you would vote that way.
Okay,
So
I'm
I'm
looking at that.
assuming.
I was just curious because, a lot of times there's these polls that they have, and it's like, oh, wow, 2,000 votes. Guess what? We only sold 500 pay-per-views. How does that work? You know what I mean? But, I'm not
Yeah.
mad at that.
So I have no idea how they did it. So it's 1-1 because now we know that there's one vote for Loso, one vote for Geechee, and Loso's already won the fan vote. So in the case of a tie, we have that. Second person goes. I think they give it to Geechee. Now my memory is fuzzy, and I'm about to see if I can find it because I feel like it was a 3-2 Geechee. I think Veloso gets one more vote, and then the final person, Tony Bro, didn't see the battle. And I know people are killing Tony Bro for this, but I believe he's probably outside listening to Snake Eyes' material because I believe they were the next battle after that. So I'm not going to kill Tony Bro.
Riggs material, probably.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. Pardon self. Riggs' material.
Stop getting the ex-girlfriend mixed up with the new boo. Stop. You can't do that, man. You got to be better.
My bad.
You just called the new girlfriend the ex-girlfriend's name, man.
Oh God. Thankfully, I haven't been in that situation so many times in life. But anyway, but Riggs, he's outside probably listening to Riggs' material as they prepare to go inside and battle because they were the final battle before you and Roc.
Yeah.
And so, dead ass talk. Shout out to him. He's the final vote. And he'd already said in the beginning he had Geechee. So he's the final vote. Geechee wins the vote 3-2. Now, I don't want to, and then obviously the outrage starts on Twitter about this is unorganized, this is sloppy, that aspect of it. Then you talk about, Loso got robbed. And in my estimation, I do think he got robbed. Regardless of how you feel like that second round went, to me, first and third were clear for Loso. Like, to me, that should not be up for debate. I say that as a jumping off point to this. I think I was in the car, obviously, when you do the interview with 3. And you talk about judging. You talk about judging Hansel and Eunice, right? So we already know your stance on judging, that it's not good for battle rap. I wouldn't say that it's not good, but it's not helpful, right? What does it take? What is the process of judging a battle? Like, what does that look like? What are you looking for? What is your preference when trying to judge material from 2 battlers in real time? Not, I get to watch it, go back, watch a replay, and then give an answer.
Yeah, for me, it's man, there's so many factors, but you're trying to process them all as you're watching a battle, which is difficult. I usually start out with content. Content. Is this rapper saying things that are dope? Are they rhyming things and setting things up in a way that are dope? Are they rapping well, and are their rhymes, do they actually rhyme? Are the punchlines unique? Are they direct? Are they attacking their opponent? Is there any showmanship? Are they engaging the crowd? And then you kind of goes into like performance, where the aggression, the like we talked about with Eunice, not being able to project, some of that projection and different things like that, it goes to that as well. Then it's a full circle of cohesiveness of the round, like, does this round unique in the fact that, okay, this round addressed an angle and there was different pockets here, and this round over here is just relentless punches, and this round, like, I'm looking at all those different types of things, the toughest thing about it is just that, like, I'm looking at it through the lens of what I look at, like, we always like to pretend like, you can compare this to like boxing or some other sport, like how sport. And it's like, no, like, that ball goes in the goal. It goes in the goal and it counts for 2 points. And we say 2 points for that team, right? Mm-hmm. The only way we can say we're cheated is if we're saying a referee cheated them, right? We're not saying like, no, that ball went in the goal, and they're like, no, it didn't. Like, that would be delusional to watch a game and say, no, it went in and it just banged off the backboard. Well, that's how battle rap judges like look at different things. It's like there's no clear way to say, oh, I think a punchline is a punchline, or you can't say something, humorous, and it be considered a punchline. Oh, he was just being funny. but that didn't do it for me. You know what I mean? So there's all of these different things that factor in. So when I'm watching it, I'm looking for that content, the uniqueness, the confidence, the performance, the cohesiveness of the rounds, the no slip ups. Like if it's a close battle, I go down to that. You know, the intangibles of no slip ups, no, I need to grab my water real quick, or anything like that. And then it goes down to this person had a rebuttal. They even kind of did something a little extra, or this type of thing. So, but at the end of the day, it's even I would judge battles like very differently and maybe incorrectly than others, because I think Roc's a legend. I love Roc to death. By the 10th or 11th low flip or horse flip or a flip, if I'm judging a battle, I'm tired of them. I don't care how good they are in the second and third round. You know what I mean? I'm taking points off because you're doing the same thing over and over. And that might not be fair to Tay Roc, because that, what I mean? So that's why I just say it's very, very difficult to go in and like judge these battles, because something that relates heavy to dead ass talk might not relate that well at all to Chilla. Chilla's a dean of students at Pendulum Inc., watching battles, probably wondering like, looking at it a little bit different than, somebody else.
So you talked about deducting points. Is it possible for a battler within a round to be so uneven? And I'm going to use this point since I know we said we can't have boxing rounds, right?
Yeah.
But is it possible for them to fluctuate so much within a round that basically they're left with zero, right? They didn't score any points, but they also didn't lose any points because of the unevenness.
I don't think in battle rap, the way the consensus judges battles, is round by round, and it's 2-1, 3-0. That's the general consensus, right? So in battle rap, you can rap and win your first round, you can Tory Doe the second round, and you can rap and win the third round, and you can win the battle. Like that's just how battle rap looks at it, Now they might be pissed off you chose to just choke 4 bars into your second round or whatever, and they might try to go back and say, well, maybe they didn't get the first round, or maybe they didn't get the second round because they don't want to pick a winner that only been do. But for the most part, the general consensus of the way everybody looks at battle rap is, I got it 1-0, I got it 2-0, or I got it 3-0. Because most of the time when these big matchups, like it's me and Roc, or Loso and Roc, or Loso and Geechee, or if there's no chokes, guys are rapping at a 7 from a 7 to a 10 level. You know what I mean? Every round. Very rarely is someone in there just getting like destroyed in a round, to where you might look at it like, yo, that first round was so overpowerful, that I don't even want to give them any of these other rounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just think the general consensus is how they judge them, because even when people ask me, who'd you give the first round to? Who'd you give the, like somebody that's judging it by like a 10-8 scorecard, 10-7 or whatever, they wouldn't even go round by round, because then it would look crazy. So they would probably just give a winner.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I didn't want to necessarily, knock the judges, even though I disagreed. And again, in all the final 4 battles of the night that I was able to watch them in full, every winner, I disagreed. Some where I feel like Unison Franchise, that first is debatable, right? Like you could say Franchise got the first, and I'm not going to sit here and be like, nah, you're wrong. All due respect to Geechee Gotti, like you said, he had a lot going on this weekend. He running a basketball tournament.
He was here the whole day, man. I looked over there, I was like, either he's completely locked in, or he's got too much dip on his chip.
Yeah, so he's running an event, trying to make that happen, and then rap. So I'm not going to sit here and there is such a thing of sweat equity, right? Like Geechee has put in enough good equity into the culture where like you're not going to kill him because maybe he wasn't the Geechee Gotti that you're used to seeing. So that's fine. But to me, Loso won all 3 rounds. I'll go back and watch it, and maybe I come to a different result. To me, it's at worst, it's going to be 2-1. It's 2-1 Loso, 3-0 Loso. And listen, I know I talked about, hey, I don't know everything about game coaching, yada, yada, yada. I know enough to be able to decipher 90% of bars, right? So don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. There are some things I'm like, there's a little bit too inside baseball for me. I can know what's happening more times than not. And there wasn't enough crip talk in there to be like, oh, well, nah, bro. You see what had happened here was you missed this bar. No. Nah, I caught what was being said in the majority of that battle. Loso won first and third for sure. To me, this is not up to debate. Just with the angle he had at the end about his father in the third round. And then I know, like you said, Geechee had the nice rebuttal. And then he goes into kind of his own, a different type of pain talk from Geechee than we're used to about his own struggles and his own things that he's dealt with in his life. So it was more of a vulnerable Geechee more so than we're used to see, or a different side of vulnerability from him. But even with that, I thought Loso got the third.
They might have gave him points for that, but yeah.
Maybe. So y'all let us know what y'all think, man. Y'all go to Brains and Bars, Facebook, IG, Twitter, TikTok. How did y'all call that battle? Who do you think won? Let me also, before we get into Roc and Ward, let me say this small commercial break is brought to you by Red Lobster. If you are a millennial, you need to go to Red Lobster, help save Red Lobster. We can't lose endless shrimp. We can't lose the Cheddar Bay biscuits. Go to a Red Lobster this weekend, patronize. There's 300 people in here. If all 300 of you take your families, we can do a little bit today to try to save Red Lobster. All right, that's been my TED Talk. Thank you for coming. All right, so let's get into the main event. Roc versus Ward, one of the more anticipated battles of the year. You were there, sir. How do you feel like it went?
Yeah, so let me first address – I'll just first kind of address a little bit more about the whole judging thing before we go into it. I know that Let's Talk Battle Rap kind of put out a couple of their captions today from my interview with Three Letterman. So one, the reason this card was judged in the first place was because there's a gentleman who has a connection with battle rap who's actually reached out to me a few times. We've had discussions or whatever. He's always been a nice guy. It's always just been kind of DMs on Twitter or Instagram, just had some discussions, couple about battle rap, sports betting. Don't have anything negative to say about him at all, but he came up with, I guess, this site that I don't know if he, created himself or whatever, but it's called Wager Attack, because he wanted to put together a way for people to bet like they do on FanDuel and DraftKings, on other sports, on battle rap. So, he puts this thing together, and this weekend was like his first time partnering, I guess, with leagues and putting out, different odds and stuff like that. So, he partners with Politics As Usual, the event that happened for Bullpen, and he partners somewhat with Monopoly. They put out the odds. Now, Politics As Usual it wasn't as much of a big deal per se, because, well, actually, it probably was a little bigger deal because the mayor that put that event on threw a whole bunch of money at the winners of these events. So now they're judged battles, but battle rappers, if they're looking around and seeing $20,000, $30,000, and $40,000 on the floor, they're probably gonna be like, okay, I got a chance at winning this bag. You know what I mean? Like, we can have it judged. Monopoly, there was no money. Like, to my knowledge, there was no extra money for anybody that won. There was none of that, right? So this was merely just them partnering with a company, Wager Attack, to say, all right, cool, because you need to have winners and losers to pay out the people that are downloading this app and betting on battle rap. We'll get together 4 judges and we'll judge these battles. I didn't like it. I didn't like it because I thought, if you're making the decision as a league to judge my battle unofficially or officially, whatever it is, you need to reach out to me. You need to reach out to me and say, yo, Ward, this is Boom, and then I'm probably going to say, we got to renegotiate, because if, you know how battle rap is, if it's a classic or whatever, and all of a sudden I agree to a judge battle and it's a crazy debatable battle and I take a L, they're going to give me that L for the rest of the year. You lost, you lost, you lost. It's going to be branded, narrative, everything for the rest of the year. I know it was a great battle, but you lost, and that's just a risk that comes with judge battles, that you have to take. So I didn't like it. I always said, I did a couple interviews before the battle. I did a Spaces and stuff, and I excuse me. I told him, I was like, I didn't agree to it. I'm not with it. So I say all that to say this. We get to the event, and Gotti's coming up to me and asking me about judges. And I said, I really, obviously, I don't want this battle judged, but I said, have you talked to Tay Roc? And he's just like, no, not yet, waiting on him or whatever. And I was like, yeah, because I'm just, I never really agreed to it being judged, and that's just not how I approach battles. And he's like, I think Gotti's kind of just communicating to me, like, we have to have it judged. Like, we have this, whatever it is, At that point, I'm just kind of in a situation where I'm like, I need to lock my material in. So he asked me, I think two judges. He's like, are you cool with Daylight? And I'm just like, yeah, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, what about Calico? I'm like, yeah, it's whatever, And then he's like, all right, I'll try to find some other judges. So I haphazardly approved two judges, whatever. Roc comes in. I talked to Roc. I said, Gotti's looking for you. He wants you to approve the judges. Roc's like, judges? This is not a judge battle. I said, thank you, Roc. That's exactly what I wanted you to say, because that's exactly what I said. He said, nope, not in my contract. This, that, and third. I'm not getting no money from it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they not judging my battle. I said, bet, So I say all that to say this. I think that it could have been done. I think that it still could have been done without the way that they did it. I think they could have had judges or had somebody watch the battles afterwards for their app, and then wager attack their website. This guy could have announced the winners based off, judges that were in the building. When Riot and Geechee and the live pay-per-view are telling the people the judges and announcing the judges, it co-signs it as a legitimate, almost like a legitimate, judged battle. And this is a third party that just needs judges to pay out people. This is not anything that's, so that's what I was kind of like. I wish that they would have just done it a certain way and had wager attack and, announce the judges and confirm whatever. But the minute that they're announcing judges and they're putting people on streams and they're doing this first and third or whatever like that created an event of judged battles that, that a lot of us never agreed to, And I would feel the same exact way if I won the battle, because I campaigned 2-3 times leading up to the event publicly that I don't, it's not a judge battle, And so I say all that to say this. The battle was great. I thought the battle was great. We get there, Roc gets there. He's got his people with him. He's got Trick Williams in the building. He's a wrestling fan. He's wearing his WrestleMania hat. I got good wrestling bars in my material. There's fans behind us that are on the risers. I like the aesthetic. They were able to get that one light that was annoying everything early in the event turned off, and good crowd. Luckily, not luckily, but with the two battles that didn't happen, it really helped on the time. We were out of there around 10 o'clock, so it didn't feel like it was a tired crowd. People were like just disinterested or anything with what comes with being the main event a lot of times. But yeah, listen, up and coming battle rapper. If you're ever at an event and Marv One is there, ask him what to call, heads or tails. I'm literally like 5 for 5.
I was gonna say 5 for 5 or 6 for 6.
Yeah, I'm literally 5 for 5 with Marv One. I look back at Marv. What I call heads, boom, heads. I don't know what it is. He's the best to have in your corner for the coin toss. So I win the coin toss. I'm excited, obviously, about that. Leading up to the battle, Tay Roc was telling people he was going first. I'm not. I wasn't born yesterday. Actually, Tay Roc was born yesterday. Well, anyway. So I wasn't born yesterday, but going into battle, he was never going first. But he was going to let the coin flip, whatever. So he raps. And man, he was good. But I'm like, nah, this is not good enough. As I'm listening to him rap, hit a couple bars when he finally got to the horseback riding bar. I wonder if the logo halo over the Angels thing. I wonder if that was in the first. I like that the way he named.
Yeah, well, I think it was.
The way he name flipped us both. I thought that was very unique, and that was a good bar. And there was a handful of other ones, but like I'm sitting there listening, and mind you, I'm also listening. I'm trying to orchestrate rebuttals. I'm like, all right, tune him out. Here he said this. Let's figure out, can we do this? He said this. Let's figure out, can we do this? So I didn't miss a lot too, just tuning him out. But the round ends, and I'm just like, oh yeah, this is, I felt like my first round was a crazy round, and probably, my first and second, I knew were like my two best rounds. In the third, I thought had the possibility of being my best round if I executed it correctly. But yeah, first and second, I was like, man, I felt really comfortable. So, we start off with the rebuttals. He gets hit with like 3 rebuttals. And then, one of the things that I just kind of like always am doing in my mind is not only am I thinking about the rebuttals, like I'm thinking about everything that has to do with battle rap content and how this is being executed, So while I'm thinking of the rebuttals, right, I have to make a decision. Okay, Ward, are you going to hit them with 3 crazy rebuttals, have the crowd going crazy, and then start your intro? You know what I mean? That could really just disrupt the energy, right, of how everything's going. Because the intro's conversational, and I've already started rapping, and then boom, halted, And so as I'm thinking about the rebuttals, I'm saying to myself, okay, here's what we're doing. You got 3 rebuttals that are all gun bars, like you don't have to throw away the threw rock at me intro. Actually, you can create it as if it's a part of the rebuttals that you're just doing, And so that's kind of like some of the things that I'm able to do on the fly that I'm always thinking about, the battle rap IQ of it is just like, yeah, I don't have to sacrifice this intro, And I'm glad I didn't, because, man, that might have been the heaviest hitting bar of the whole round with the threw rock at me, maybe even the whole battle. So we come out the gate, three crazy rebuttals, boom, threw rock at me, and I'm downhill from there. Feel very good. Done with the first round. Oh, that's in the bag. That's clear to me. It's good. It's good. And so, he wraps his second round. The second round similar to the first, maybe a little bit better, in my opinion. I think it was less dry spots, but I don't remember him having a bar that as crazy as the horseback riding. Maybe the shots run off and the horses start running was in the second. That might have been the first 2, actually.
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah. I have to watch it back.
But second round was just kind of similar to the first. Like, I heard him punching, and there was just dry spots and bars that just didn't hit for me. More name flips. And then second round again, boom, come out, rebuttaling, hitting on all cylinders. Even the intro that I had for the second, the fireplace and everything like that, was just, you could say it was resonating, just the rhyming and everything. And so from there, boom, downhill again, ended with the Monopoly stuff, which I thought was some of the best material, in the battle as well. And I'm going into the third, like I'm up 2-0, I'm up 2-0 clear. I'm feeling completely clear. He wraps his third. He was angling. So I'm like, okay, cool. The minute you start hearing like a puncher or somebody who's normally just killing you and name flipping you start angling, I'm like, okay, he's going to get extra points for this. They're going to look at this like, oh, this is a different type of rock round. This is a different type of rock, whether it's executed well or not. And he had a good round. He had a good third round, with the angles that he chose. And so I'm going into my third, but I'm still feeling like my third is comparable to that. And, I hit with a couple of rebuttals going into the third and get to my angles. And the first half of the third, I thought was executed well, but the second half was the important part, because to me, it had like the big haymakers and the aggression and back to like the just relentlessness. And as I slipped up on a word in one of the lines, like halfway through the round, it continued. And I slipped up on like 2 more words. And like I said, man, I'm my own worst critic. I'm a perfectionist. Some people, like I probably am bringing more light to these word slip ups than anybody watching the battle, is going to like really give me a hard time for, because everybody does it, what I mean? But I just hate it. It just doesn't sit well with me, it just irritates the mess out of me because it's uncharacteristic. So I slip up on a few words. And and finished the round fine, or whatever. But because of those slip ups and because I just didn't bring it home, and he kind of had that angled third, which was a pretty good round. I give him the third round. So, but I thought I was up 2-0 clear. But the minute I got off the stage, it's that feeling that like we were talking about earlier, like when you leave the door open, you just leave people a reason to be like, nah, I think I had it 1-1 because they want to give Roc the third. You're gonna have that, So, from what I understand, I lost the fan vote about 60-65 or something to 35 or something, or 60-40. I don't know.
Last I heard, it was 61-39.
61-39. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I mean, I thought it was a great battle. I thought it was. I got off stage and I was like, man, I'm the kind of person where people were entertained and they enjoyed it. They had a great time, and I'm looking around and everybody did. I get off stage, everybody's shaking your hands, man. That was great. That was worth the money. Boom, boom, boom. Yada yada yada. It's just real disheartening when you get online and then you have like the people that are watching online feel differently because they're not there, energy in the room, type stuff or whatever. And so there was a different feeling online to where like, it was a cool battle. It was all right, but there's an expectation put on me for Riot battles. If you think about Rum Nitty being battle of the year, you think about the Geechee Gotti rematch, and then now you have the Roc battle. It's the next huge battle. It's like, bro, like the expectation is this is going to be out of 42,000 battles every year. This has to be a top 5 battle, And this is like, nah, man, like, it was a great battle, with a legend who brought 3 rounds after battling Friday, and I thought I had great material too. So I had a good time though.
Yeah, man, I thought it was a good battle. I think I won't necessarily go great, but I think it's a really good battle. I think it has really good replay value. I think there are moments from both sides, right, that are very interesting. I don't think we got really any classic Roc spazzing on you after the ball really lands. Maybe one in there. But I think, like I said, I just think this is a really good battle. Like I said, I think the trick shot rebuttal was crazy. Obviously, the rebuttals in the beginning.
The daylight rebuttal.
Yes, the daylight rebuttal. And I think to me, Roc's reaction to that also makes it a moment.
Yeah.
Yes, that was the vote for Loso Geechee. And so like I think it was, like I said, when it drops, I'm gonna watch it several times, not just because it's you, but because I for me, I think it was a good Roc. I do wonder how different this battle looks if he isn't as active leading up to it. Because I think for him, battling as much as he has, I think that has an effect on you. And I do think, I started to watch Loso versus Roc today. So I got through the first round. And like the energy he had in that one, he's a lot more amped up. Like he is, I mean, he's drenched in sweat after his first. You know what I'm saying? And not to say that he wasn't, I had to go back and watch your battle to say he was the same, but I just think that the work that you guys do in memorizing material, and I'm pretty sure he was writing up until the last minute, trying to get locked in, even if he wasn't full rounds, half rounds, just doing tweaks here and there and trying to lock in that material. That takes a lot of energy to try to sit there and memorize. You guys are freaking vampires, pardon the pun, because of the opponent we're talking about. But you guys are staying up 1, 2, 3 in the morning, waking up earlier than you normally would to go over this stuff. Then you're waiting all day. That takes a toll. And when you've done that twice in 48 hours, it's hard to keep that level of energy up. So I do think his energy wasn't the same as it was for the bullpen event, but I still think it was a good Roc. And I'll go back to say the same thing I've said all the time when talking about him. Roc always gives you, whether you think he won, lost, debatable, he's always giving you the best that he's got in each battle. I dapped him up at the end, said, y'all appreciate this run you on, appreciate what you brought tonight. And I feel the same way. Tonight, in my estimation, not just because you're the homie, I think objectively, I scored the same as you. I thought he got the first and second. I'm sorry, I thought you got the first and second, and I thought that he got the third in part for one of those things you talked about. It was, I don't know if it was his best round, but it was to me, it was consistent with the first two. Had the angle in there. at the beginning about, the URL thing. And I thought it was a good round. And because of I'm going to say choppiness, I'm not sure that's the right word, but at least the stumbles, right? And just the word slip ups,
Yeah.
I feel like he gets that third because those things matter, especially when the round is close.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, like I said, I thought it was a good battle. I thought it was, like I said, I think it has replay value. Will it be, seen as a battle of the year?
Probably not.
Probably not. Probably not. But I'll say this. I know people throw this around a lot, but I mean, I feel like you have to, the ride has not been around long enough maybe to throw this out here. And maybe this might be foolish to say, but I do feel like we got it when we talk about, who's the king of the riot. I feel like it's got to be you. When you look at the resume, like you said, I almost said Av. That could be a future riot opponent, by the way. But talk about Geechee, you talk about Rum Nitty, you talk about Tay Roc. Like you've built in this small time that this league has been operating, you built a really elite resume of opponents, and they're all from your side of things. They're all really good performances. And like I said, not to take anything from Roc, he had a good performance as well. I just thought that you were a little bit better that night.
Yeah.
Not just a little bit better, but a couple of levels higher that night. So yeah, man, I thought, like I said, overall good event, good vibes. Yeah, thought it was a good time, man. So y'all let us know what y'all think, man. Once again, if you haven't had a chance to see A-Ward versus Tay Roc, go to rapgrid.com. Monopoly 2, it's one of the first might be the first banner on the website when you log in. Grab that VOD, go check it out. Go check out Bullpen. I don't want to short them either. Go check out Bullpen. Politics as usual.
F Bullpen. Trying to do an event 2 days before. No, I'm just kidding. Make sure y'all go grab that Bullpen card too.
But go start with Monopoly, then go to Politics as usual. Start there. Fact. So spend your money now, and when you get paid on Friday, then go support Bullpen, right? You know what the thing they need to do in the culture? They have Afterpay. Have you ever seen that? When you go buy something,
man, we break it down in 4
payments. Hey, so everybody ain't got the money up front. You know what I'm saying? But if they can break it down into, 2 like 15 and a quarter payments.
Listen, bro, at this rate of like quantity of battle rap, like it's becoming $100 a month to follow the live pay-per-views that are of significance. You know what I mean? And like that's crazy. Like that's
word. That's word to my wallet.
Word to my wallet. And that's why, like, another reason why, people get together and watch the battles or bootlegging and stuff like that is because people want to be able to have opinions and watch the battles. But dog, like, I don't spend $100 a month watching anything, not movies, not sports, not, you know what I mean? Even my cable service ain't even $100 a month. And I go watch everything all day. You know what I mean? And like I said, I'm a battle rapper. I get paid off of these sales. So I'm not, thank you, mama. Mom, you better always think I won, even if it's debatable. And you better say something. No, so yeah, so, I do appreciate everybody that takes the time out to buy these pay-per-views. And I do appreciate the leagues like the Riot who, do a good job of putting the pay-per-view on, making sure it's worth the money, with the amount of battles they have on the card, and releasing the battles in a timely fashion too for the ones, that aren't unable to buy the pay-per-view. A Riot does a good job at that without them having. But my inbox is full of people saying, when does this drop? I'm like, my guys, like, it happened 2 days ago. A day and a half ago.
Hey, y'all come together this weekend, get that 65 together, put in, and y'all as a family sit down after you come back from Red Lobster. After you come back from Red Lobster with the endless strip, go sit down as a family and go watch War versus Roc on rapgrid.com on that VOD. See, look at that. That just sounds like a plan. That sounds like a plan to me. Anyway, we about to get out of here. I just want to say real quick.